everyone, it's Robin, Artist Island Crafts, and welcome to my studio. We are doing another show and tell with what you guys have been up to. Down in the description box, there's a link to the show and tell email. It's a basic email. You can contact me for anything, but you can also send your show and tell. If you just put show and tell or what I've been working on or something in the description box, I'll know which ones to look for. Now I have my computer down here, which means sometimes I'm going to be looking down and reading what you guys wrote, and you'll see the projects up here. Now last time I put my favorite project up as a thumbnail. I had it up here next to my face, and I just might do that again. Or I might just randomly choose it because I think it's really fun to be checking through the thumbnails of what you're going to watch on YouTube and see your project up there. I'll try to do my best to make sure it's a different person each month so that it's not the same one over and over, and we can share the happiness all the way around. And if you know of the pattern that you're working on, you can share that if you want. Otherwise, people might ask in the comments. Just check the comments and answer any questions that have to go with your project. I think everyone will really appreciate that. I'll do my best. Things will get smoother the more we do. Now Kelly made a new design wall. I think she's been laying out her blocks like on the floor or something and trying to figure out all the layout, and it's a pain. You guys know getting up and down and all that, trying to see it. So she put a new design wall up. Let me show you the project that she has on the design wall. She created a 40 by 60 design board by layering cardboard, batting, and felt. What a great economical way to do it. She appreciates not having to get down on the floor to arrange her blocks. This is the Riley Blake Stitchy Squares Stitchy Birds pattern by Teresa Kogut, but with a mercantile layer cake. She's going to use a brown polka dot sashing. That is going to be really fun. Thank you so much, Kelly, for sharing, and thank you for the nice words you said in your email. You can see around one of them. It's on row 1, 2, 3. And down to the right, you can see the polka dots surrounding a red and white block, so you can kind of see what it's going to look like. I think it's going to be really fun. I like it just on the background of the black felt. But you know I also love polka dots. That is a great way to use a layer cake to make things nice and simple. You can just use one big layer cake, a 10-inch block. She put snowballs around it, and then off you go. You don't have to do a lot of cutting, or you don't have to do any cutting on the layer cake. Just do a little bit of the snowballing, and it's a great way to use the layer cake and to make a quick and easy quilt. Now I have a few layer cakes that you guys have shared with me and some that I've purchased, and we really need to start working on some layer cake projects because they're really great ways to get a sampling of fabric. Oh, I usually tell you when the email was sent. This was sent on June 2nd. Virginia has been working on a fun cowboy boot one. I laugh because I always love these cowboy boot quilts. They are just so fun. You can use a variety of fabrics, whether they're bright and colorful or they actually look like cowboy boots. She's making the cowboy quilt. She just finished it, so it's a finished quilt for one of her granddaughters. It's inspired from a Nancy Sanders on YouTube. Her channel name is Simply Quilting, Nancy Sanders. Great job, Virginia. I really love the different cowboy boots, and I like how it has, I always like how it's got one fabric for the leg part of the boot and then one fabric for the foot, and yours just looks really nice. Mine would be wild and crazy, 100% would be wild and crazy, and it might not look like a cowboy boot anymore. And that email came through on June 3rd. It's not too bad because I got caught up with the first video, so we're pretty much staying on about a monthly basis. Now for those of you that hang out on the live stream with me, you might notice Rose's name. Rose hangs out a lot, and sometimes she has to dash off really quickly, and she tells us that's because of her dog Copper. Copper's a very handsome young man there. Look at this one right here with his ear cocked. That is adorable. Now, even though they have a fenced-in yard, they like to go out with them just to keep them from barking and barking and barking at probably butterflies, the wind, and anything else that might go by. We've had that problems with our dogs and with neighbor dogs. My neighbor on each side, they both have a dog. This one has a larger dog. That one has a smaller dog. I've only seen this one or heard it a couple times. This dog goes out at about 10:30 every night before bed, I'm guessing, and he always barks to be let back in. And that's my signal, 10:30, you better be in bed, Robin, because the day is over. I get up around 5:30, whether I've gone to bed at 10:30 or 2 a.m. It doesn't matter, I'm getting up at 5:30, so I need to make sure I get to bed. Now, what is Rose working on? Rose has got a photo of the little blocks she's making. They will be 3.5 inches finished. The post-it note on top lets her know how many are in each stack, because when you have 499 ready, you don't want to be counting those stacks over and over again. And since the photo, she's made another 21. She likes to make a few a week. Oh, she's working on a fun quilt. I had to make the picture bigger so that I could see it on the computer. This is one of the projects. I've worked on something like this in the past, and this is something that I think I want to do with some of my scraps. I want to do a wonky log cabin and something like this, where you just take a center square and you put a fabric around it. And you have the same 4 fabrics. You can choose 2 or not, but the same ones going around. And by doing 3.5 inch squares, it does take a little bit of time to get it done, but how fun will it be? I also find that using the smaller squares like that, the 3.5 with the smaller scraps, that allows you to use up them little pieces, because a lot of the times we can find a way to use like a 2.5 or 4.5 inch piece. All those little ones left over, you have to figure out a way to use them, and this is a great way. And she's using one of those plastic scrapbooking containers. That's what they're usually called, the clear ones. I use them myself. There's one right there, and that's where I have my cross stitch project, the Scarecrow. But it's a great way to organize a quilt, to put them in there, and then you can just pull it out and you have everything you need in one spot, and you won't be going, where did I put those blocks? So Rose sent that on June 4th. Hello to Mr. Copper, and thank you for sending that in, Rose. When I'm doing these videos, I feel like I'm someone like on a TV show, and thank you for joining us today. Kimberly has sent us an email on June 8th, and she is working on a scrappy Christmas village. Now, Kimberly is part of my Patreon group, and she pulled some fabric to do the Christmas stars with us, but she never got around to starting it, and that's fine. Sometimes when we get excited about a project and we see someone else working on it, or we see someone else's pictures of it, we get excited and we want to do it, and then the project stalls. And for me, that usually means it's just not inspiring to me. But she decided to take her fabric and then make Christmas Village with it instead, because that's our second Patreon quilt along that we're doing in 2024. We're doing the little houses and stuff. There are so many little house patterns out there that you can use for your scraps or your larger pieces of fabric. I think I saw like 8 of them on Missouri Star just for one place to look. Then there's plenty more you can find just looking out on different websites and blogs. There's such a fun thing you can do with the scrappy houses. Now, if you look, she took like a little, what is that? Is that a polar bear snowman that you can put inside the doors, and then you can have little things peeking out. I've seen people do the little tiny windows, so they use the little smaller print fabrics, so you can have like a cat looking out the window or something like that, and then you put something fun in the door. And just working on the little houses are just really enjoyable. Now, this is her design wall, and if you look, you can see some fabric postcards that are sitting there, and those are the ones that I've sent her. I send different tiers of my patrons fabric postcards, and also I send them to you guys here on YouTube. So thank you so much for sharing. I love the different backgrounds that you're using, and that you're just going to have a variety of houses. I know you have 3 red and white polka dot houses right now, and I think I have that exact fabric that I put on the back of my strawberry quilts. It's really fun to use it as a Christmas fabric for the houses. Oh, and one of them says joy. There's a little joy ornament on the roof. That's really cute. But once you do that, I like to use the fabrics, and you'll make like 3 or 4 of a scrappy blocker houses, and then you just have this and you're like, oh, that's a lot of one. But then when you go and you end up making 100 blocks or 50 blocks, it's going to get spread out, so it doesn't really matter if you have 2 or 3 houses that look the same. I know that can be a problem sometimes with new quilters when they see, like, I'm making 4 purple blocks, and they're like, wow, that's a lot of purple. But if you keep making your blocks, they're going to spread out, and it's going to be okay. That is from June 8th. And we have one more from Laura. Now, Laura is working on a lot of projects. She showed us a project last month, and it was the bees in the garden sew along that she was working on. If you remember, she had some flowers, big poofy petaled flowers with the leaves with a dark outline. They're like the curved piecing and stuff. So she's got it all sewn together with her little bee block, and she's used green and white stripes to border all the way around it, and I think that is so cute. Laura, I love that little mini quilt. That is going to look so sweet on your wall. Unless you're giving it away, then it's going to look sweet on someone else's wall. Next up is to sandwich it and quilt it, and then the binding, and she will be all done. I'm kind of curious, Laura, what are you going to use for the binding to go around it? Are you going to stick with a green and white type thing? Maybe a black binding or a yellow? I think you can get away with a lot of different things, like maybe instead of a black, like a dark green or something like that. So I'm always curious what people are going to use for their binding. And if you want, let us know how you quilt it. Otherwise, maybe we'll see it next month. Now she also has a couple other projects to show us. She has 2 mug rugs that she made for coworkers. So a cute, and it looks like it's machine embroidered. Maybe it could be one of those in the hoop projects. So you have a kitty cat, which is adorable. I have really been seeing a lot of kitty cat things. There's some cute coasters and zipper pouches that I feel like I just have to make a few. And then Deborah's got a BOM with a heart. I don't know if that's block of the month, but you never know with the coworkers like that. And with the crosshatch quilting and the straight line quilting, it is very cute. And the last thing Laura is showing us is a 4th of July kitchen set for her daughter, because she's going to go and spend the 4th of July with her daughter. Now that's going to be fun. I see kind of like hot pads or oven mitts, however you want to call them. Oh, I was looking, it looked like a wallet with the top that folds down, but it's one of those kitchen towels that you can hang from the oven. So it's got a really cute gnome fabric with the different background and stuff on it. I thought that's really adorable. And apparently Laura does have an embroidery machine because she embroidered USA on it. And of course the Deborah name was embroidered on the little mug rug and stuff. That USA set is really cute. The different colors, the way maybe it's a variegated thread or something, that looks really nice on there. I'm just scrolling back down to look at the garden. The bees in my garden so long, I really do like that quilt. And Laura sent us that email on June 26th, so she just snuck it right in a couple days ago, which was a good reminder to me to make sure I got this video done. So thank you to everyone who sent in what they're working on and their projects. You guys are doing a great job. It's going to be really fun to see the progression of everyone if they want to share from beginning to end, to see as they've pulled their fabric and started working on their blocks all the way up to the end when it's quilted and bound and ready to be given away. Now, nobody has to share anything, and you don't have to share it every step of the way, but I just think those of you that are doing that, I think it's a really fun thing. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Remember, the email is down below in the description box. It's really easy to tell because it says Show and Tell with Robin or something similar. I'm lucky to remember my own name, let alone what I put for an email. It's the same email you can use to contact me if you want to chat or if you have any questions about something in a video or a project you're working on. If you do have questions about a project you're working on, it's always helpful if you send me pictures and let me know exactly where you're stuck. I can visualize some things, but I can't always help you out with a problem unless I see the exact problem and I can go like, oh yeah, been there, done that, because I make a lot of problems and mistakes in my projects too. I have a different scrappy word for you today. Do you love the name you were born with, you were given at birth, that your parents gave you, or did you always think you'd want to be a different name? Now, it never really mattered to me too much about Robin. I liked how simple it was, but I always wanted to have a Y instead of the I, R-O-B-Y-N. When I was growing up, people used to ask me, is it Robin with an I or a Y? And I thought, what? I can have a Y in my name? Ooh, that's so fancy and sophisticated. So it'd be nice to have a Y, but I'm used to the I and it works fine, and everything stays at a nice level line when you're writing your name, so I'm happy with it. But did you always want to have a different name when you were younger? I know a lot of girls used to do that I wish my name was, or my real name is, you can call me, and then you'd have your special name or something. I don't really remember hearing the boys, and I know my boys didn't say it too much. Now they've changed the way their name is with nicknames and stuff, but that's about it. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today and for sharing everything. Come back next month and hopefully we'll have another batch of show and tell to show from July. Bye.